4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Hey guys, welcome to MB Tech Talker. My name's Matt. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to successfully upgrade a high availability pair of firewalls to a new version of PAN-OS. I'll show you how to do all of this on a VM series next generation firewall using VMware Workstation. Hopefully you will enjoy the video. If you do, please like, comment and consider subscribing to my channel. Okay, so let's take a look at the diagram. As you can see, we have a pair of Palo Alto next generation's firewalls configured in a HA pair, and we have a client machine connected to the user zone on Ethernet 1/2. This is where we're going to ping out to the internet to verify connectivity whilst we upgrade the firewalls to the new version of PAN-OS. In order to limit network downtime, there is a specific order we need to follow, so let's go through the steps. Okay, so first of all, we need to back up the firewall configurations locally on the PC. Ensure that each firewall in the HA pair is running the latest content release versions. Disable preemption on one of the firewalls. Check for the latest software updates. Download the required PAN-OS software on the active firewall and then sync to the peer. Install the software image on the passive firewall and reboot. Verify pings are still successful from the client machine. Confirm that the passive firewall is operational and can be managed by the web UI. Then we're going to suspend the active peer so that the HA fails over to the secondary peer that we just upgraded. And then we're going to view the high availability widget on the dashboard to verify the HA state change. Install the software image on the primary firewall. Once the software image is installed, then we're going to reboot. Verify pings are still successful from the client machine. Then we need to confirm that the firewall is operational and then can be managed by the web UI. Then from the CLI of the primary firewall, we're going to issue the request high availability state functional command. So in an active passive configuration, only the active peer should be passing traffic. And then we're going to re-enable preemption. Okay, so let's begin the lab. I've logged onto both of the firewalls. Let's take a look at the dashboard. As you can see, we've got green lights all the way through, so that means everything matches currently. This is an active passive configuration. The firewalls are currently running software version 8.1.0. I'm going to be upgrading to 8.1.17. That's the preferred latest release. So before we begin, we need to back up the configuration. So if we go to device operations and then hit the export name configuration snapshot, and we're going to select the running config.xml and then click OK. We're going to open up that folder and then we're going to rename this file to active. And then we're going to do the same on the secondary passive firewall. So device, operations, export name configuration, snapshot, drop down to the running config.xml again, click OK. And then again, we're going to open up the folder and we're going to rename this file to passive. Okay, so the reason we're doing that is if there was a problem or a failure, we've got an easy way we can get the configuration back onto the firewalls and get the network back up and running. So that's that job done. Now what we need to do is check that both firewalls have got up-to-date content. So if we go to the dynamic update section, I've already downloaded the most up-to-date versions on both the firewalls. I'm not going to bore you with doing this over again, but basically if it's not up to date, you just click the check now down here, and this will check to see if the most up-to-date version is downloaded to the firewall. And then once you download, you can install it and then you can sync it over to the peer device. So that's all done, so I'm ready to go. I'm happy with that. What we need to do then is check that the preemption is disabled on one of the firewalls. So we're on the primary firewall at the moment. So if we go to the high availability section and go to the election settings, and then we can untick preemptive and then click OK, and we can commit that. So that's another job completed. What we need to do next is check the latest software is available to us, so we can download it and install it. So if we go into the software section and you just click on the check now, and that will just refresh this. What we're looking for here is 8.1.17. So I already downloaded it, and I also synced it over to the passive firewall. So if we go over to the passive firewall and do the same search, so 8.1.17, you can see that's been downloaded. So we're going to upgrade the passive firewall first, as this won't disrupt the network at all. And that means that once this has been upgraded, then we can fail over to this one and then upgrade the primary. So before we install it and reboot it, let's just go to the Windows 10 machine and log in. With the correct password. Okay, let's open up a command prompt. And let's do a constant ping to Google's DNS service. So 8.8.8 -T, and as you can see, we've got internet connectivity. Now if we go back to the firewall, and now we can start the software installation. So click install. So this takes a little while to update and install. And then once that's completed, it should ask us if we want to reboot the firewall. Okay, so that's installed successfully, and here's the pop-up saying that the device needs to be rebooted. So we will reboot that now. So click yes, and then we can take a look at the pings. As you can see, it's still pinged away quite nicely, so there's been no interruption to the traffic. So we go back to the firewall, and we'll wait for that to come back up. I'll pause the video and then I'll come back to you when that's done. Okay, so that took about 5 minutes for it to install and reboot the firewall. So let's take a look. As you can see, that the firewall is still passive, but now it's not, the running config is not synchronized, and there is a PAN-OS version mismatch. We are running 8.1.17. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over to the primary or active firewall. We're going to go to the high availability settings, and we're going to now go to the operational commands, and we're going to suspend the local device. Now what this is going to do is force the HA to fail over to the passive firewall to make that one the active firewall. So let's click OK then. And if we go over to the secondary firewall, you can see now it's turned active. So this gives us the opportunity to do the upgrade on the primary firewall, which is now in the suspended state. So let's go to the software, and we're going to install the software on this one now. We're just going to confirm the pings as well. You can see we had a brief drop of a ping there, but everything is still working correctly, and we've got connectivity out to the internet, so that's no problem. Let's go back. So This is now installing the software on the primary firewall. So again, we'll just have to wait for this one to complete and reboot the firewall. So I'll pause this again, and once I've rebooted it, I'll be back. Okay, so the primary firewall's back up. As you can see that it's in the passive state, and the secondary firewall is currently active and passing traffic. So what we need to do now is SSH to the primary firewall. So 192.168.21.21, and we connect to it via SSH and we log in. And then once logged in, we're going to issue the request high availability state functional. Hit return. You can see it says it successfully changed HA state to functional. And then the last task we need to do is go to the device, and we need to go to the device tab and then go to high availability. And then we're going to go to general, and now we're going to click on the election settings cog here, and we're going to re-enable preemption, and then click OK, and then we're going to commit the change, and then we're going to go back to the dashboard, and what we should see is the primary firewall take over as the active HA peer. So if we refresh this, it should change over. Go and look at the monitor tab, and go and look at the system, see any HA logs. Filter on HA. Go back to the dashboard, and there we go. It's finally gone over and taken over as the active role. And if we go and have a look at the Windows 10 machine, you can see there was a ping was dropped, but other than that, pretty seamless. So that's been a successful lab. Just as a final note, what I've noticed is that when upgrading to a maintenance release, like we've done in this lab from 8.1.0 to 8.1.17, when disabling preemption on one of the firewalls, this will mean when you install the new software on the primary active firewall and it reboots, the passive device will remain the active HA peer until you issue the request high availability state functional command on the primary HA firewall, and then re-enable preemption to force it to become the active firewall. However, what I've noticed also is when you upgrade into a new feature release, say from 8.1.0 to 9.00, when the primary firewall is upgraded and rebooted, this will be treated as a first boot. So even if preemption is disabled, the primary firewall will take over as active firewall as soon as it comes up, because it has the lower priority. So it's just something that you need to be aware of if you're doing this in a production environment. And this is why we do things like this in the lab, is to fully understand the differences. I recommend reading this preemption knowledge base article. I'll put the link up now. I'll also put it in the description below. It certainly gives you an insight on how preemption is used in HA active passive mode, and it will definitely give you a better understanding when upgrading your firewalls. So that's the end of the lab. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please leave any comments below, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks. Okay guys, that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Over the next coming weeks, I will be uploading more videos where I will be sharing more content about Palo Alto firewall features and technologies and how to configure them. If you like this video, I'm sure you know what to do by now, but just in case you don't, please hit that like button below and share with your friends, and be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell to get notified every single time I post a new video. If you have any ideas of video content you want me to create, please put them in the comments below, as I would love to hear your feedback on any aspect of my channel. Please keep watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.